Hello, friends. It's the Cinemondo podcast with Kathy and Mark.
There we are. Hi, everybody. Hey, who doesn't love to have friends or even a companion? We all need companions and horror.
Horror and companions.
Yes. This film is called Companion. It stars Sophie Thatcher and Zach Quaid. And it's coming out end of January. And I think it is something that is worth checking out because why, Kathy?
Because Zach Quaid is in it.
He's from The Boys, right?
He's from The Boys. Dennis Quaid's son, and Meg Ryan's exactly. Yeah. And he's super talented. I love him.
Be both.
I know. And then Sophie was in Heretic, that Hugh Grant movie that just came out.
Oh, really? I have to watch Heretic. I want to see that. I hear some great things about it. So this film is made by, well, it was produced by Zach Cregger, who did that movie Barbarian, which came out a few years ago. And it's those same sort of folks. And I'm excited to see what it's all about.
Barbarian had a great premise. I remember when I first started watching it, I really liked the idea. And then it kind of went
It had elsewhere. It took a left turn halfway through. That's for damn sure.
Yeah.
I mean, I loved the idea of the left turn because it kind of turned it on its head, but I didn't super love the resolution of it. But I love the idea of Bill Skarsgård. I mean, the whole setup is so great.
Yeah.
He's already in the house. He's very
right. What a predicament. How do you deal with that? Yeah.
How do you deal with Bill Skarsgård in a house all by himself? Well, I can give you a few ideas. So you would stay in the house.
But remember, you're already freaked out when you go to an Airbnb. Like you're in a strange city. You're like, okay, will the key work? Will I be able to get in? And then you get in, and there's somebody else is there.
Not just somebody else, super hot of the hottest. And he's all like being real sweet, like, oh, so you can sleep, and I'll sleep on the couch.
Well, it's like that travel horror idea. You know, I just went on a trip recently, and I show up really late in this town, in kind of a small town that I went to. And I go to the hotel that I had booked, my hotel, and I go in there with my luggage and everything. I'm by myself. I go into this lobby, and nobody is there in the lobby for me to check in, and I have to call the night person. And the night person shows up, and he opens up one of those metal roll-up doors, like that, and this sort of cloud of weed comes out. And he's like, and I give him my name and everything, and he looks at the paper, and he's like, we're all booked up, man. And I was like, but I got a reservation. I got an email and everything. And I showed him on my phone. I said, I've got all this. And he's like, it's not how that works, because you get reservation doesn't work like that, because we reserved a room in that. So, you know, when you get into a situation like that, what the hell do? You can't just demand a room. You go get back in your car, and you're in a parking lot now with your suitcase. Alone in a town that you're sort of not familiar with. And so there's these jumping points to stories. I don't know if that has anything to do with the movie we're about to talk about, but
it doesn't.
It was kind of a tangent.
Barbarian. It has to do with Barbarian.
Right.
Yeah. Same producers. Well, I did a reaction to the teaser with Mark last week. Instead of publishing the teaser, I thought we could include it here so you guys could see, because as we were watching it, we were trying to figure it out, because they don't explain it in the teaser. They don't know what the concept is. And I tried to prediction of what I thought the storyline was going to be, because it's hard to tell. So we're going to cut to that clip from our reaction is included in our
the teaser.
And then we'll review the actual trailer.
Okay. Let's check it out.
All right, here we go.
My love must be a kind of blind love, or bright. I only have eyes.
I get teary eyes. That was a great opening.
Yeah.
Unhinged. Oh, shit.
I know it's going to sound cheesy, but The moment we locked eyes, wow, there was just a spark.
What? That okay.
That's a good trailer.
That that was a teaser, and I feel like if they showed any more, it would be too much.
Right.
I hope when the trailer comes out, they don't bring even in any more new footage than that, because that showed us a lot of stuff.
It showed us a lot. We start out as kind of this romantic sort
I
of
love
like
that.
from the people that worked at the Notebook.
It was so good. From the studio. There's a lot of movies coming out of the studio.
Exactly. So they picked like
that.
the most corniest kind of soap opera love story, then turn it on its ear.
So good.
I like both actors. I like the vibe of it. I
Yes.
like how it sort of goes from this romance to obviously bloody violence and weird stuff going on, and her hand catching on fire. Cool stuff. Yeah.
I know, that was really cool. And the thing I loved about it was it started off with subtlety, and then it went to pure carnage, which was great also. But the contrast was great. I love you have this romantic scene, and I'm looking at those going, oh, I love those dishes. I want those dishes. Oh, that meal looks really nice. And then we cut to him, and he's got this is one thing that Quaid is great at, is that he can smile and look happy, but the eyes are like heartbroken. He can do that stuff at the same time, which sounds like, oh, who cares? But he does that on The Boys all the time, because he's kind of the odd man out a little bit, and he isn't really a superhero, but he's helping, but he wants to be one. And then he's very capable, but he's not quite there. So he has this great give and take. So I love that scene where you're seeing it, and he looks like he's smiling, but as you watch him closer, you're like, oh shit, his eyes are all red. He looks like he's been crying. Well, you weren't expecting it. And I thought that was a great reveal. And then they show her, and she's looking all like evil. I'm like, oh, what's going on? What is happening?
He's got that boyish sort of, he's got that boyish face, sort of belittles what's going on underneath. But then you see him with a gun ready to, blow somebody's head off. Yeah,
like smiling, but they're like, I don't want to do this, but I'm going to do it. It just has that great look of like, yeah, okay. Oh my God.
So it's interesting. The title is Companion. So that is it one of the characters or the other characters, or is it sort of the companionship of both? What is happening in the movie? I see how there's an escalation of violence, but what's going on?
I hope I'm going to have a theory. I hope it's not true, because I don't want it to be this. She seems like she's a robot. We have a lot of AI robot things.
I don't want that.
It would make sense he's trying to destroy her, and that's why she can have her hand on fire.
I don't
know. No idea.
I mean, it's an interesting take. I hope you're wrong, but I mean,
I'm wrong too, because I don't want that.
Yeah, but it's an interesting take. And Companion being a robot. I mean, that kind of makes sense too. Interesting.
I don't know. The companion, right? He's going to go out to this cabin with his robot girlfriend, the perfect woman.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe, maybe not. Don't know.
I hope Kathy, I think you just figured out something. You're too smart. You got to be done like me.
The only reason I just watched the movie about a babysitter who's hired to come in, and she's an AI robot, and she's taking care of the kids, and she's supposed to be helping, but she's not. She is, but she isn't. She's going too far on everything.
Was that the movie Afraid?
Yes.
Okay.
And then there's the new movie with Megan Fox, where she's kind of a robot AI who comes in to help him while his wife is sick. And of course, she's Megan Fox. So what's going to happen? So, but same thing, where she's kind of a robot. She comes in to destroy this family. And then, so I have seen two things now based on this idea.
Okay.
So,
I hope that's wrong. But if you're right, it still might be fun to watch, because that's kind of a fun, sort of setup anyway.
Okay. So what I did is I predicted as we were watching it that she's a robot.
Oh.
Yeah. And I went, Kathy, you're absolutely one. I think you're right.
And I didn't want it to be. I was like, no, I don't want it to be a robot.
Well, unfortunately, I was thinking companion. It makes me think of science fiction, because that's the name of a character in a really good episode of Star Trek original series, The Companion. And so when you think about companion, and today is in the context of today, that movie Her came to my mind.
Yeah, with Joaquin Phoenix. Yeah.
I never saw that. It looked annoying. But that was just like a voice, right? It was like Alexa or something, right?
Yeah, but
Voice. But there's been a bunch of movies coming out that is exactly this, like where it's an actual woman who's a robot, and they keep now it's the AI thing. Like
right.
Megan Fox is doing it now. There was that. What was that one called?
Ex Machina.
There was one called.
That's a
there
really
was one
good
called Afraid, but it was AI, and it was
Afraid,
it was like
an AI.
Yeah, so it's so I was bummed out when Kathy was 100% right. But let's
so and as you're gonna see, as we see, so we're gonna watch this trailer, and it doesn't hold back. There's no like, what is she? What isn't she? They show it. I think they're gonna show it right away. So let's take a look at this trailer.
All right.
Okay, let's do it.
And you can see how I was so right about everything.
How dare you predict things?
I predicted something I didn't want to see.
You got to be dumb like me. Like, huh?
Well, that's sort of the go-to joke that we've always had for years. It's like whenever you're talking about a twist at the end of the movie, it's like, oh, they're all robots. It turns
like
out that turns out she's a robot. That was always kind of like the joke twist, but evidently it's still a trope.
Well, because now it's the thing. Now it really is real. Women are robots. Do you not know that?
Yeah. I know. Yeah.
Robot.
Horrible.
I'm a robot.
Are we ready?
Yes, we're ready.
There have been 2 moments in my life when I was happiest. The first was the day I met Josh.
I'm Josh.
I'm Iris. And the second, the day I killed him. Just relax.
Remember to smile and act happy. Do they know? Iris, wake up.
What are you doing? Shut her down already.
What is she talking about, Josh?
This was not part of the plan.
I didn't mean to.
Did you jailbreak your sex?
I love him.
Wow, Josh. The days of you controlling me are over.
Are you breaking up with me?
It's not you. It's me.
Yeah, she's tied up inside, so she's not going anywhere.
Eli, Iris. Shh, baby, you're on the phone.
I love that actor. What we do in the shadows.
Yeah.
So there's a few things I loved about this trailer, actually. And, I'm a little bummed it's a robot, but what I liked is the conceit that she doesn't know she's a robot, which is a cool idea. And so she thinks she's like really,
at least for part of it, or somehow she doesn't, but then she's increasing her intelligence on the app.
Well, she finds out she is, and then she sees what he set her. He set her intelligence really low so he could control her, and she thought that was like, super tacky.
Right.
But I love her. He's like, just smile and act, happy. Like the kind of things men say to women. So I love the idea that really all a man wants is a woman he can control. So we give him a robot, he'll be perfectly happy. So it's kind of like that kind of weirdness going on in the middle of it, which I really like. But when she finds out, woman scored, even if she's a robot.
Well, here's my thing about it. It's like, what, again, going back to what you put in a trailer, like this movie, if I had gone in and known nothing about it, I think it would be much better if I just, okay, she just seems like, okay, I wouldn't guess that a character in a movie is a robot. Maybe with the title companion, you might think something like that. I just didn't when I saw the original trailer. So I thought, okay, who knows what's going to happen? So when they give that away, it's just like, okay, it's one of those movies. Now it might be funnier, might be better, but or whatever, but it is one of those films, and you give away a big part of, the surprise for seeing a film. So
I kind of think if you're marketing this movie, like I'm trying to think about the marketing, you're either going to market it as a man who's kind of abusing a woman and she fights back, which is kind of a depressing movie that we've seen a million times, right? So something like that. But if you're going to sell it, you got to give out the idea that she's a robot, because that gives it that extra tier of kind of weirdness that people might go, oh, she's a robot. That's cool. What's going to happen there? She'll probably have superhuman strength. She'll probably like really be badass. And what would be like, it kind of makes people think like, oh, how would I handle that? Like if there's a woman looks exactly like a woman, but she's a robot and I can make her smart or dumb. Then people have that little weird, like, where would that go? How could we do this? And how will this end? Who's going to win? Who are you rooting for? Because she's a robot.
It's hard not to compare a story like this to this amazingly brilliant series Black Mirror, because it's basically, I mean, the Black Mirror episodes take an idea of technology like robots or some other technology, and they do a what if about it. But Black Mirror does a really dark what if, like what's the worst that could happen with this technology, or what's the most dehumanizing that could happen with this technology. And it seems like this is kind of like comedy. They're pulling jokes out of the idea of a robot kind of finding herself or realizing her potential or getting herself out of the situation where she's a slave, or the machine is rebelling and the guy is not able to control her. There's all kinds of metaphor in there, but it seems kind of like a dark take on the technology that we're seeing more and more. I mean, just a couple of days ago, there was an article in the news and my aggregator that was like, insanely realistic human robot companions and
$100,000. Yeah, you can buy one of these female
only
robots.
100,000. That's not even a lot for super realistic. I mean, if they look like her, that would be worth it.
They don't, but they're they're getting there.
Yeah.
Well, I just think
I have another prediction, and this is probably not the movie at all. What if he's also a robot? It's like,
I mean,
what if it's like, would two robots be able to have a relationship? I don't think he is, but it would be funny.
But see, if the trailer didn't give away that stuff and just sort of said it's some sort of deliciously, there's some murder, but there's some wicked comedy to it or whatever, and that would be really interesting to watch. Oh, during the movie, and maybe he's a robot too. I just feel like when you give away too much in a trailer, it just is a disservice for me personally as somebody who wants to see the movie. That's all.
But isn't that this whole movie though? I feel like if you don't tell them, you're sort of doing a disservice to the story itself, because that's what the movie's about. That'd be like a movie like Alien, but not making it about the aliens, just suspicion.
Not showing that it has an alien in it. But I mean,
don't know. But I get what you're saying, because it's kind of a twist. But at the same time,
if it was a twist at the end of the movie, maybe, but the fact that it seems like this is a twist that is revealed pretty early in the film, and the film is literally about the relationship with a robot, and it's sort of like what the creators of this film and the creators of the trailer and the promoters and all want you to understand is that you're going to see a movie about how complicated it is to deal with this modern technology of humanoid robots. As opposed to just a relationship film that there's something weird about it. There's something
right. Well, also, I guess you're right.
I kind of like too, they kind of have a little line in there about like, does she know? And then she kind of wakes up like, what are you doing? What's happening? I love the idea that she doesn't even know. And so you're like, it's sort of, it starts pointing out like the levels of like consciousness, like, where does it begin and end? Like, is this something a program? Is this something we're inherently, like, what makes us human? Like, if she doesn't know she's a robot, is she human? Like, it becomes this whole, like, should she be treated as a human or a machine? Because at this point, she thinks she's a human. So is she?
Right.
Like, it's all about self-identification. It's like weird. Yeah. I don't know. There's a lot going on, and that's just from the trailer. So
that takes us back to Blade Runner, where Rachel didn't know she was.
Yes, exactly.
Remember when Harrison Ford asks him, like, she doesn't know what she is.
That's right.
It doesn't know what it is, does it?
Right. It's like a modern Blade Runner is what they're making here.
Yeah, and the creator of Rachel says, of course not. We have to implant memories. And in the book, Philip K. Dick was writing this stuff in the olden days about how will we relate to artificial life and what happens if it starts getting closer and closer to us evolutionarily. What do we, and I always love that line in the movie AI too, which is another brilliant film about the same kind of thing. They're right at the beginning of the film, they're having a discussion about robots getting more and more like humans. And if it can simulate love, can it, I mean, if you program all the things that a person does when they love you, and it's just programming, is it love? Or, I mean, when we do things, when we fall in love with other biological humans, are we just reacting to biological programming? And I love the line in AI where someone says, once robots get to a certain point, what do we owe them? Like, do we owe them rights? Do they deserve to have the same rights that we do? Or are we beholden to this idea of civil rights with something
See,
that we
it brings up
made.
a lot of good
I know.
conversation. It becomes a Matrix, Terminator, like it's all
Yeah.
that kind of stuff. So it's like, So they like to bring it down to ground level. Some people can kind of relate to is the idea of a relationship and how much control would you want over another person. If it was a robot and you could make exactly what you want and you can make it react exactly how would it work? And what about the robot? Do they have any say?
And what kind of person would want that though?
I know.
It's like
Well, that's why she's like, "Oh, great, Josh! Look, your intelligence is low." Like, what's that about?
Well, the idea of saying that like she would be the perfect woman for a guy if she had no self-awareness and she was just an empty shell of a thing. It's like I don't think that's. I think real people want unpredictability and strength and human individuality and autonomy in a person that they're, because I don't know if you could really really have feelings for someone if it was an artificial shell of a thing that just did exactly what you told it to. That would be like any number of devices that we already have in our offices,
Yeah, well, maybe a dream come true for some people.
For some people, that might be
some terrible people would want that.
I'm sure there are people like that out there. But I think it's something. It's a movie. I
Jeffrey Dahmer
people like that,
injecting Clorox into somebody's brain.
You would make like sex dolls. Yeah.
I mean, it looks like it's it looks like a well-made film, and it's something I will watch. My only quibble is, less is more in trailers.
Trailers do give a lot away. I mean, I feel like we know she kills him. We see a lot of blood.
Right.
Cool cast. I love the guy from What We Do in the Shadows.
He's always
so
great.
good.
Well, I love any exploration of science fiction. I love science fiction, and even if it's done in a way to make you laugh, like finding the humorous side of something that's actually kind of dark and kind of serious. There's a lot of people who right now have a lot of anxiety about AI and this sort of this onrush of technology that seems to be flooding us so quickly right now. It's like every day you wake up and you read the news and it's like AI has some new ability now. And robotics are even more realistic and more affordable and whatever. And you have these multi-bazillionaires that are saying, in 3 weeks, we're going to have, everybody's going to have their own personal robot. And, it's like, what is that going to do to humanity? How does that evolve us? And as profoundly as our personal computers did, and we sometimes take for granted how much we've evolved because of social media and or devolved. What is advanced AI and robotics going to do to us?
And with that last thought, tell us in the comments what you think is going to happen.
Or it could just be a fun movie.
Woo! It looks like a fun trifle.
Yeah.
So that's coming out
robots
January
can be
31st.
fun. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Robbie the robot,
robots will help us.
The Lost in Space robot.
I can bake cookies for you.
They're our friends. All right.
All right, everybody. Companion coming out January 31st. Thanks for watching. See you guys soon.
Intriguing.
Yeah. Take care.